All right, what is up, guys? This is the project today. It's pretty well, it's all fit up, all done, all except for the welding. So today we're just going to weld 6-inch pipe, just a bumper rail, guardrail, whatever you want to call it, to protect this building and this old brick building here. Roughly, I forget, 100 foot from that corner all the way down here. Got us a little 3-inch light pole, and then I don't know, roughly 20, 40, and then it goes around the front here also. All this is already welded. So this morning we'll start right here at this saddle using 532-80-10. I have said this quite a bit here on the channel, but I personally use 532-80-10 just because I'm used to it from my years of pipeline experience. I just like the way it runs. But on something like this, you could use 1/8 60-10, 1/8 70-18, 60-13. It really don't matter. Like, I mean, honestly, it just really doesn't matter on something like this. As well with pipe fence. There's no certain procedure. This is considered structural versus like a pipeline where there's, you know, or stations, pipeline or station work where there's pressure going through the pipe. So there's, you know, that's why all the welds got to be proper and the pipes got to be proper. This is all structural pipe. It's got a big seam in it, so like it wouldn't hold under pressure that like pipeline pipe would. So structural versus stuff that like is under pressure. So anyway, literally doesn't matter what you use. I thought about, in fact I did use 70-18 right here. I thought about using 70-18 on all of it, and I did use 70-18 here, and even on our, before we stood this up, way up yonder on our reducer, 3-2 reducer, that's all 70-18. I put 1/8 60-10, you know, as a bead. I didn't worry about getting full penetration on any of this mess, but 1/8 60-10, 1/8 60-10 as my bead / hot pass, and then I just capped it with 70-18. But on all these other welds, I'm just gonna run just like I have in the past. I'm just gonna seal up all my crappy fits like so, and or any of my saddles where I may have gaps in my saddles. Well, I got it, all my saddles turned out pretty good here. I say pretty good, like decent, better than my first two over here, because I had to get my 6-inch saddle dialed in, so end up having a little gap on these first two. I think this was my first one. I've already sealed the gap here whenever I was welding on these yesterday. But anyway, all that to say is there's a couple of gaps to fill on these first saddles, but all these other ones shouldn't be too bad besides this corner right here. So anyway, it is time to start welding. I got here at roughly 7 o'clock this morning because it's going to be hot, and I want to try to get as much of this done while it's cooler. So let's go ahead and get geared up. I've got my sleeve on, my new Knox FR shirt that I've been trying out. It's not as durable as the ones we carry in our store, which by the way, I don't know if we're gonna get any more because our supplier's having issues. That's why I'm trying out different shirts. The Martin Brothers shirts are thick, so they're nice for downhill, but because of the thickness, they're not as cool. And so that's actually one of the reasons why I've really enjoyed these on this project in the middle of summer, because it's 10 times cooler and it's got this cool paisley right here. So anyway, I'm trying it out. I'll let y'all know how I feel about it. If you're interested in trying one of these Knox FR welding shirts, or anything else on their website for that matter, Knox has been kind enough to offer the viewers here on the AROSSWELDING channel 15% off of their very first order by using the discount code AustinRoss, all caps, at checkout, And for your second and third and any order after that, punch in the discount code AROSS at checkout for 10% off. I want to thank John over there at Knox for, what up, Kev, for creating these codes for you, the viewers. Also, I would love to hear your feedback about the Knox FR shirt. So if you do get one, let me know how long you had it and what type of welding you were primarily doing with that welding shirt. Kev, you're very distracting. You can text that feedback to 405-643-7176. Get my comfy knee pads on. I like them leather ones, but just because they last a long time, but these are comfortable for lots of knee work, if you will. Knee pads, arm pad. Whenever I'm fitting stuff up, like the past couple days fitting all this up, I like using these thinner gloves, but whenever I'm doing nothing but welding, I like wearing these thicker gloves and my pancake. Whenever I was fitting up, I use that other gray hood with the flip, just because it makes more sense to do all that. But whenever I'm just welding, fixed lens and pancake and thicker gloves. To hook my ground up, I either use this mini grasshopper that we have in the AROSSWELDING store. It's got little holes right here so you can run a bungee around it so it doesn't come off the pipe. Or if you don't have one of these, you can use a like a big strong arm clamp. Just clamp it here and then put your ground on it. This grasshopper is designed for a T300. Pipeline work, a lot of times we use a T300 for our ground and our stinger. That's what this loop is for, to run that stinger in there and then clamp onto right here. But I haven't been running a T300, so, but it still works with a regular ground. Give her a little wiggle and then go weld. Lastly, a little bitty detail when welding with 8010 or 6010, any gray rod. Any welding, overhead welding whatsoever, but especially on pipe and 8010 rod, the splatter is real sneaky and likes to get in my ear, so put a little earplug in this left ear, and left ear. Alright, now we're ready to strike up. First mistake of the day. Let's take a minute and learn something. Looky here. I got a habit of not stringing my ground out any further than I have to. So I put my ground right there, but the problem is we got a break in our deal here, so I gotta run my ground to right here. All right, now we're ready. Takes me back to my old pipeline days. My old pipeline days. Funny, I sound like a 60-year-old man. I only have like 8 years. It's like the old Brandy said. Alright, we've got 2 welded so far. They had slight gaps. I think I took a clip of them before I welded them. This one was pretty deep here. But what I'm getting at is I got one more here with as far as the saddle, with a gap. And all I do is kind of run a pass along the top, run a pass along the bottom. And then if it's close enough, I'll whip that last pass, especially if I'm trying to not put 2 passes, which if you've followed for any time at all, you know that I normally seal my gaps and then put a cap pass over it. But I don't think I'm gonna do that on this one. I think I'm just gonna try to leave it like that, because I don't think it needs it. And even on these little gaps, they're sealing up pretty good, so I don't think I'm gonna fool with it. The only other gap that I know of is in that corner, like we've seen this morning, and then right here we had a little short putt, but that's a bevel weld, so we'll just seal it up and then put a cap on it, just like we did over here. Regular old downhill pipeline cap. You betcha, boys, you betcha. Really, this 532 rod is almost able to do it, except there's the top, see? But anyway, I'll drag me a little pass here. I say drag, I'm doing a little whip action. And I'll be one down there. Really, I normally would have made that my last pass. I was kind of going rogue right there, where I was welding it as if I was going to cap over it. That's why I didn't go ahead and seal all this at the bottom, because I'll just seal that on my cap. I'll start back here at the top and I'll just put me a cap pass all the way to the bottom. I ain't extremely worried about the looks of these welds, although I do hope the farmers here at the local co-op approve of my welds. Because you know, it being new over here, everybody's gonna walk over here before it gets painted and they're gonna be checking it out, you know, and I'm gonna brush them off. I'm gonna brush off my welds. You know, I could just not brush them off, but I'm gonna brush them off. And you know, I just don't want it to hurt their eyes, you know, so I want it to look just as good as possible. And that's my practice anyway, is just shoot for quality, make every weld better, even if it is on fence or guardrail. I like doing the best quality of work as possible. I just think it just makes everybody feel good whenever things look nice, especially in today's picturesque world, you know what I mean? I'm not saying every weld's gonna be pretty, but I'm gonna try. All right, coming right along. Got all but 6 more welds to do. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And actually 1 lap joint right here. So 7 counting the bevel weld. Had to stop and get me a replenishment. I've stopped a couple of times before now. buddy. That's a wrap. All welded up. Whole bunch of 6-inch branch welds. You betcha. Thanks for coming along with us today. And remember, if you want to try out one of the Knox FR shirts, check out the link in the description below. Use those discount codes, Austin Ross, all caps, for 15% off of your first order, and AROSS on any order after that. Don't forget to let me know your feedback, 405-643-7176. Hope you enjoyed the video, and remember, learn something every day.